Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was The Wild Robot, making $4.2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $137 million and a worldwide total of $308 million. Another stupendous weekend for The Wild Robot. It continues to soar to new heights that I don't think many people were expecting it to. On the domestic side of things, like I said, it's already surpassed Migration. It is now $10 million past that in film's entire domestic run. Can you believe that? I wouldn't imagine that like 5 months ago, yet here we are. And it's now just $3 million away from the $140 million milestone domestically. I think it'll get there, and now the big question is if it'll get to $150 million domestically. I think it's going to get close or just barely get over that mark. It's one of those things that's so close yet so far, not just because of how well it's been doing thus far, but also we are heading into Thanksgiving, the holidays, and there's a lot of big movies that are probably going to steal a lot of attention from this movie, and the movie is definitely slowing down a bit. Not significantly, but we're definitely in the slowdown period for sure for this movie. But that's not to say that the movie is still struggling or anything. The movie has just done super well thus far. Like I said, it's exceeded all expectations that people had for it, especially on the worldwide side of things, as it has now officially surpassed the $300 million milestone, and it's still got a couple months before it hits Japan. And when it hits Japan, I think we'll see this movie hit even more milestones, given the hype this movie has and how popular animation is, especially from DreamWorks in Japan. So yeah, this movie's story is not done yet. It seems like it's done, but it's not done. It may be done in America, but it's still got one more big place to open in the next couple months. But yeah, as far as the top 5 goes, as far as going forward, this is definitely going to be the last time we see it in the top 5. But just man, what a run this movie had. This has been the biggest movie of the moment right now domestically. Worldwide, it's been surpassed by a couple other movies, but ever since this movie's released, nothing has topped this movie. I'll say that again, nothing has topped this movie domestically. Not Joker, not Smile 2, not even Venom 3, which we'll talk about later. But the fact that this movie has remained undefeated for almost 2 months now is absolutely insane. The word of mouth has been spectacular. The legs and the holds have been even more spectacular. This has just been a fantastic run all around. Just so great job to the folks at DreamWorks. You made a very, very wonderful, very successful movie. Props to y'all. You guys did an outstanding job with this movie, and you're reaping the rewards for it. Once again, congratulations. Number 4 was Heretic, making $5.1 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $20 million and a worldwide total of $25 million. Heretic also seems to be doing relatively well, given the type of movie it is, and the discussion and the divisiveness of the film, especially with the ending. But it seems to be drawing in enough people to go and check it out. It had a pretty solid hold for this type of horror movie, just dropping 52%. Pretty impressive, again, for this type of movie. Definitely not really a mainstream one, nothing really big. This is not a Smile 2 is what I'm saying. But so the fact that it was able to hold this well is rather impressive, especially given that we're in the holidays, and I don't think this would be a movie many people would see during this time of year. But people are seeing it, so more power to you, I guess. And because of the film's cheap budget, said to be around or less than $10 million, this movie's already doubled that domestically and worldwide. So this is already looking to be a nice little sleeper hit for A24. And yeah, just another solid sleeper hit. Not much more else to really say here. It's doing really impressive, certainly better than I was expecting it to. Maybe it's just the Hugh Grant of it all, or the more likely reason, people are just really resonating with this movie and they're going out to support it. Yeah, not much more else I can really say here. It's another horror movie doing pretty well for itself, and it's another win for A24. So yeah, just a job well done. Number 3 was The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, making $5.2 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $19 million, and still with no international numbers as of yet. That worldwide number stays the same. It was yet another close call between the best Christmas pageant ever and Heretic, fighting this time for the number 4 and number 3 spots. I don't know what's going on with this movie. Apparently these movies have beef with each other. I don't know what's going on, but last week it was Heretic that claimed victory over the best Christmas pageant ever, but this weekend it was the best Christmas pageant ever to claim victory over Heretic. You'd think it would have been the opposite once again, like last weekend, since there was another big Christmas movie out, but I guess more people were into the Christmas spirit and wanted to go check this movie out, and it's looking like it's actually going to be a win for Lionsgate. This is like a $10 million movie similar to Heretic, and it's already doubled that. You know, the word of mouth is really kicking in. People are definitely going to check this out. I think this is going to have the advantage of being the other Christmas movie out right now, so you know, like in case like the other Christmas movie out right now, you know, sells out or it doesn't interest people, they can go check out this one as well. And once again, given the cheap budget and strong word of mouth, this is looking like it's going to be a nice little sleeper hit, definitely a much needed hit in general for the studio, given how poorly their year has gone for them. So yeah, things are looking pretty solid for the best Christmas pageant ever. We'll see how much further it can go. We are approaching the holidays, so expect some pretty solid legs going for the next month or so. But yeah, things are looking pretty good for this movie as well. Number 2 was Venom: The Last Dance, making $7.2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $127 million and a worldwide total of $436 million. So its long run as the number 1 movie in America has come to an end, and it did face off its big hit this weekend as expected with the competition that came out this weekend, but still doing rather well. It only dropped 54% from last weekend. Rather impressive given, you know, the competition and for how long this movie's been in theaters for now. It's definitely cracking 130 million probably by the next couple days or so, and we'll see if it can get to 150 million again. Like with The Wild Robot, it seems so close yet so far, given the big competition coming out on the horizon, and I think this will definitely affect this movie a bit more than The Wild Robot. At least that movie's been out for longer, where this was just only been out for like a couple weeks now, so now it really just has to deal with all the big threats, you know. But the movie's still doing rather impressive, especially after that disappointing opening. People still seem to be interested in checking out the final film with Venom and Eddie Brock in it, or at least this iteration of Venom and Eddie Brock in it, and you know, people still seem to go check it out. We'll hopefully see if it can manage to put up a good fight over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, but things look pretty solid for the film as of now, at least domestically. It could have been a lot worse, you know, a lot worse. Look what happened to the other big comic book movie in October. And of course, internationally, this movie is flying past records. You know, it surpassed the $430 million milestone worldwide. I'm sure it's going to get to $450 million. We'll see if it can get to $500 million. Again, a lot of competition on the horizon, so it's going to have to really put up a good battle between those movies and the holidays, you know. But, you know, anything's possible. It wouldn't surprise me if it got close to that milestone, or at least barely, and I mean barely get over that, because again, you know, the domestic numbers were rather lacking this time around. But still, though, you know, really solid, very impressive run for this movie, especially given how poorly it started at first, but it seems to have been picking up the pace quite well, and it seems to be putting up a good fight against the most recent competition. So yeah, another solid weekend, I would say, for Venom: The Last Dance. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was, funny enough, Red 1, opening with $32 million this weekend domestically and $83 million worldwide. So this movie did slightly better than I expected it to. I didn't see a lot of interest or buzz with this movie initially. I saw a lot of marketing and promos for this, but I wasn't so sure if enough people were interested or quote-unquote hyped to go check this movie out this weekend. But it seemed like I was living under a rock, because this is a pretty impressive turnout for Red 1. It seemed that there was a lot of interest with this movie. You know, the fact that it's the first like new big Christmas movie out in theaters, the star power of it, and of course the heavy marketing push definitely caught people's attention, and they were willing to go check it out. And given the positive response it's gotten, you know, an A- cinema score, which is on par with a lot of other Dwayne Johnson movies, you know, the Jumanji films, Hobbs and Shaw, Jungle Cruise, so on and so forth. I think we could see some pretty solid legs here. Again, it'll stand out from being the big Christmas movie out right now. Sorry, best Christmas pageant ever. And internationally, this film seems to be doing even more well. It made 50 million internationally for an 80 million worldwide total. It's sure to get to 100 million worldwide probably by the end of this week. Yeah, things look pretty good when you don't factor in the budget. That's the big thing holding this movie back, folks. This is a very expensive movie. It costed, I kid you not, $250 million. Now, originally this was sent to streaming, and Amazon said they're not too worried about the film's box office performance. They're more concerned on how many subscribers this movie will bring to them, when it hits the streaming service after Christmas, will bring to Amazon Prime when it hits that streaming service later, this Christmas movie after Christmas. So I guess they're not too worried about that, but I think they should be, because if you want to put out these gigantic big tentpole movies and you want to impress people around you to show that you can put out these big movies, you're gonna need those box office numbers to make up for that. Otherwise, you're not gonna really impress. Yes, this was originally made for a streaming service, and admittedly, these numbers are impressive, and strange things have happened before. Who knows? Maybe this will be this year's Illumination Grinch movie. This movie will break records and so on and so forth. Who knows? I've been wrong before. But, given the big, and I cannot stress this enough, big competition, especially this weekend this movie's going to face off, I'm not too sure if it's going to be able to do that. So definitely a big asterisk with this one. Yes, the numbers on their own, pretty impressive for an original movie like this, pretty impressive, but given the budget for the film as well, yeah, this movie's got a lot to work to do. So yeah, we'll see where this goes from here. It's going to be very interesting to see how much this does in the coming weeks with all the competition, and it's not like The Rock has to worry about this since he's in Moana 2 in a couple weeks, so he's not too worried about where his career is going right now. But yeah, definitely interesting numbers for Red One. We'll see where this goes. And those were the top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have 2 new major wide releases, the first being Gladiator 2, the long-awaited sequel to the Ridley Scott Roman epic. I think this movie is going to do very, very, very well. This is a sequel to not only a very well-known, very quotable action epic, but it's also the sequel to a Best Picture winner as well. And the studio definitely knows that. They have been pushing and promoting this movie like crazy. They even brought back the Pepsi halftime commercial thing with Megan Thee Stallion. That was kind of cool. That was kind of clever. And the buzz seems to be really strong, despite, the initial criticism of the song they used in the first trailer. But still, people seem to be very excited. They love the cast. They're really excited to see this movie. They've been loving to see what this sequel has to offer, how it will follow up the first film's legacy. There's a lot of hype for this movie, and this is one of the few mainstream films geared to an older audience. It's rated R, it's bloody, it deals with mature themes. I think this is really going to stand out from the other family-friendly fare hitting theaters this holiday season. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot for this movie. I think we're going to see some very solid, very impressive numbers here, certainly. And then there's Wicked, the feature film adaptation of quite possibly the most beloved, successful, and well-known Broadway musical ever. Folks, I think we are going to see a hit here. Not just a good hit, not just a big hit, but a huge hit here. We could see something in the lower tier of Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2, and you know how much money those movies made. So if I'm saying this movie's going to be like in the lower tier range of those movies, I think it's going to be huge. They have been pushing this movie to no, and they have been selling this movie since the Super Bowl. That was 9 months ago, and they've been going full force with this movie's marketing. It had a huge presence during this year's Olympics, and all the different tie-ins with Target and makeup products and all the various, viral videos with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I mispronounced it. And all the various, trailers and stuff they've been doing left and right for this movie, getting the word out here. It's been nuts. This has been a Barbie level marketing for this movie. The buzz as well is huge. I haven't seen a movie been talked about this much since Deadpool and Wolverine. The hype and anticipation for this movie is really big. A lot of people I know really want to go check this movie out. I think we are going to see some record-breaking numbers here. I think we're going to see some huge, big numbers here. Yeah, it's looking like a very good weekend just for the movies in general with this and Gladiator 2, but there can only be one winner, and I think the clear winner this weekend is going to be this movie, Wicked. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied? Unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone,